Good evening, and thank you so much for joining us on Asonye Live today. It's an exciting time. It's a new year. Some people are still battling with resolutions, and others are outlining agendas for the year. It's exciting. I hope you have done your resolution. I hear the comic around saying that this year no resolution. The ones they have done over the past years, they have not completed, and I find that quite funny. However, we are going to still talk about the new year, as Nigerians do not seem to get enough of the president's new year broadcast. Mixed reactions continue to follow that broadcast. Although it elicited hope amongst Nigerians, did it actually bring about the trust, having been promised so much over the years, over the past couple of months really? Are Nigerians going too far if they do not trust the president on this one? The many promises, he seems to understand the plight of the Nigerian citizens. However, where are we when it comes to that? That's what we'll be discussing, and in the studio to discuss that is our in-house correspondent, Mercy Adewunmi, who is seated to analyze the president's New Year's speech with me. Mercy, again, I thank you for being part of today's edition.
Thank you very much for having me.
Yes, it's always a pleasure. Your smiling face always gives me the renewed hope. But we'll go for a short break now to return and get into the crux of the matter, talking about the president's New Year's speech. How much hope, renewed hope did you get? That's what we'll be getting to. And we would open phone lines later, where you too can tell us what you really expect this president to start doing 2024 to ensure that the lives of the masses, you know, is safe and indeed prosperous, as we have constantly prayed for. We'll be right back after this short break. Okay, it's 2024 and the pressure is getting worse, like people would constantly say. The president's speech, I don't know how you found that speech, but well, the NLC, the TUC, and the opposition parties, some opposition parties have criticized the president for his speech. And let me just go straight to you right now. What did you expect different from that speech? Do you think that beyond these nuances and rhetorics, the president is indeed, you know, does he understand the plight of the Nigerian people?
Okay, I want to believe he, to some extent, understands the plight of Nigerian people, but he should go down to the crux of the matter, visit the people, or should I say his informants should give him more information on how the citizens are faring, and he should stop giving us hopes and just go into the matter.
Right, especially when it comes to security. We saw that it's Christmas Eve attack in Plateau State. That was quite unfortunate. You know, when we talk about security, it's when one person really is affected, it affects all. But let's break it down and talk about security. For instance, in terms of security, would you say that we are better off with this administration?
My goodness,
I'm talking about even the composition of security chiefs, the many efforts by the president in trying to you know, hammer it on, ensure everyone is safe, bring perpetrators to book. Do you think with all the body language is enough and Nigerians are better off?
No, we are nowhere, sincerely, because you get to hear of kidnappings here and there, you get to hear of stealing, you get to hear of murder, of armed robbery attacks and all that. Like 2 weeks ago, aside the Christmas Eve, I heard of some community,
that was in
local
Kaduna State, yes, Kaduna State, where they gathered and were bombarded by the military.
So what would you say about that? We can't say we are nowhere close to it.
So what would you suggest people now do? I know it's out of place. I mean, we can't even discuss it. I've been hearing people talk about how we can decide to start protecting ourselves. That's completely out of it. We can't even suggest that right here. because at no point should civilians try to protect themselves. But because we are beginning to even hear people talk about this, it says something. It tells you the trust level on the government to protect their lives.
Sincerely, I think the people should, just as I say, begin to secure themselves. Be security conscious for your neighbors and for yourselves, because we've been relying on the government for so long, and till now, what have they done? Little or nothing. So what should we do? We should be our security watchmen for ourselves. Look out for ourselves. Look out for all those vigilantes. Put them into use.
Okay, we've been having our issues with the vigilantes, of course, where it is said that I don't think there's a bill that has passed second reading. It hasn't gone further than the second reading, that will harmonize the vigilante and the conversation around having them hold arms. You can also attest that though the security architecture we already have, the police, for instance, that are even trained on how to maintain law and order, are sometimes trigger happy. We see a policeman open fire on someone just because, you know, we see them, their riot control is horrible and all of that. Now imagine a vigilante holding this rifles and weapons without proper training. I can understand where the government is when it comes to that that space and believing that they can control themselves or get the training necessary to help. But what do you really suggest? It's getting to a point where these vigilantes have to be given weapons.
Talking about vigilantes being given weapons and how they handle it, I think they have to be sensitized. You given weapons. Before giving the weapons, they need to be sensitized. So they should be sensitized on the usefulness of the weapons and how to use it. Emotional intelligence also needs to be put in place with psychological intelligence, and they need to be sensitized generally.
Okay. Now, the president also promised a new minimum wage for Nigerian workers in 2024. That was one of the components of his or highlights of his speech, his New Year's speech. A lot of us again were like, yay! But do you remember that some state governors haven't even implemented the 30,000 naira minimum wage that has been? So it's one thing to say, oh yes, the president has said so, but how can we gazette this in the states to ensure that indeed it goes far?
I think the committees should be put in place. They should have watchmen. They should be in check. They should check them up. And it's not just for the president to come up there, come on air and give us some speech to renew our hopes and all that. He should implement policies in place to checkmate all these things. And I remember that there are some wages aside the 30% that have not still been sent to civil servants even to the end of this year. So not just coming up and giving up hopes and all that. He should also put watch in place, set up committees that will be giving him feedbacks to see if it has been implemented. Because a good leader would not just give instructions. He should also see that the instructions are being carried out. So I think he needs to do more in saying that the instructions are being carried out, rather than just giving out the instructions.
Right, but the minimum wage has been something a lot of people have been hammering on. Mercy, if I have to ask, what do you think would be deserving, you know, of the Nigerian people, especially when you factor in the removal of fuel subsidy, the devaluation of the naira, the inflation and its attendant, you know, consequences, and the purchasing power of Nigerians? When you look at everything, what do you think your minimum wage? Remember, your employer, your employer is watching you. But what do you think the Nigerian minimum wage should be? Because conversations have been back and forth. I know the NLC is asking for as much as 200,000. I apologize, 200,000 naira per month. 200 million would have been nicer. 200,000 naira per person, per worker. That's supposed to reverberate through or cascade through everything, private sector and indeed everything. However, is it workable when you look at the Nigerian revenue?
I think it's workable.
The Nigerian government can indeed pay
they can.
Minimum wage of 200,000 naira.
I believe they can. Nigerian is blessed with resources. They think the only issue is management. Nigerian is blessed with resources. I think they can do that by first off having the interest of the people and managing our resources. When all our resources are being managed, I think they can achieve that.
With commensurate revenue, because there's so much that has to be factored in when you talk about Nigeria. We keep talking about, Nigeria, we are wealthy, we are wealthy. Nigerian government says we're not wealthy yet, in spite of the removal of fuel subsidy. That was clouded with so much corruption, we agree. However, are we wealthy enough to pay 200,000 naira? Would it cause another sort of inflation or some economic stuff in the market where you can't even purchase anything for the amount that you know it for? Because naturally, when money is like that in flow, it affects the market. So,
Joy, sincerely, we should think about this nation, Nigeria. We have a lot of things we need to maximize.
We need to maximize,
yes.
But we're not looking towards the governors. We keep talking about, you and I keep talking, the president's speech, what the president should have done. But what are the governors doing to ensure that they maximize? Like you say, there are several economic potentials and revenue potentials in the state, but we don't see them harness this. If it's not oil, the non-oil sector is not being as harnessed as I would have expected it to be. But we keep looking at our president all the time for guidance, for complaints, for criticism, and all that.
The government had to put in place, the governors, they need to look at their states. They need to get to work and stop looking up to the president just alone, because just as it is, the work doesn't just end with the president. It boils down to his subordinates, which are the governors. They need to check their states and also harness the resources in their state and maximize them appropriately.
Right. I will not leave this wages, this minimum wage issue, because we are also having problems with the implementation of the ones that the 30,000 naira, that is obviously not enough. Look at how much a bag of rice is these days. During the Yuletide season, we were almost buying it for more than 50,000 naira.
57, 60 thereabouts.
Exactly. That is, I would never have imagined that a couple of years ago we were buying a bag of rice for 17,000. In fact, I remember when it was way cheaper. But I'm talking not long ago, as close here as 2015, we're buying a bag for 17,000 naira.
Yeah.
And here it is getting, and I remember the complaints that period. We're like, how could it get this high? The bag of rice has gotten so high. But then again, we're resilient people, aren't we?
Trust Nigeria.
You push us. We keep trying to figure out how to, we make ourselves comfortable and all that. So
we just have to complain at the first instance and then gather momentum to push up. That's one thing with Nigerians.
So what are those factors that are affecting things like bag of rice? I mean, I can't for the life of me understand. I do not understand why during the Yuletide season, when there is more demand, there's demand for the product. In other climes, it will come down. When there's demand, prices go down. Why is it different in Nigeria? Is it wickedness on ourselves? I don't understand it. Prices of everything skyrocketed.
I think everybody in Nigeria is, to me, an opportunist, trying to maximize the season and extorting people, trying to maximize the season and extorting people. I think that is just the issue, because why I come to that conclusion is because recently I heard that there's so much of fake drinks in the market. You heard?
We saw videos.
Okay.
NAFDAC also showed us.
So why should we have such happening in this particular season? I believe it's because of the demand on the drinks. So you see,
I don't think it's this season. I think it's something that has always been, and that they are just seeing it right now. And in fact, a lot of us would swear that we've tasted some of those very bad drinks, because when you know your drink. Everybody knows, like, the fizzy drinks.
Funny enough, I don't take all those things.
You probably do not, but we know the fizzy drinks. You know your brands. When you take and you taste another one and you're like, is it me or this just tastes different? You know, not several times it happened to some of us, and this was like an aha moment where you say, this now makes sense. I remember times when I was trying to taste those drinks and I could tell that the taste is different. It tasted, some tasted watered down, others tasted more concentrated and all of that. And I saw the unhygienic environment that these people were so wicked enough to, you know, be brewing these things in. And I am sad for my country, not because we could not do more, but we have several agencies of government, departments and ministries that it is in their mandate to protect the Nigerian citizen. There is no reason why we should not even have been doing more. It would die down. In fact, as a matter of fact, this was quite rife and eliciting reactions just a couple of days ago. That's about a little past a week ago. And like nobody now is talking about it. And that is the problem I have with participation of Nigerians when it comes to governance. There's so much the media can do. The media has done its best in getting you to know this. What are you doing to ensure that government is indeed on its toes? It is not just the brewery companies that are affected in this. It seems to be in everything. The drugs are the ones that scares me the most, because nobody goes to buy a pharmaceutical, or rather drugs, when you're fine. Very often you go to this pharmacy to buy drugs when you're down. It's like kicking a man that is already down. And once again, we remembered Dora Quinley of NAFDAC, who was championing this against all odds. We saw that vigor she used in ensuring that the Nigerian person is indeed saved, or not exposed or to substandard and products like this. So it saddened me, especially that that conversation is dying down. Nobody is on NAFDAC to ensure more. Where are the whistleblowers that the past administration, I mean the first I remember when Buhari came with this whistleblower. I wanted to be a whistleblower. Really? Oh, with all that was promised, if I had just even seen anything, I would have blown a whistle. I remember the first tenure, it was all about whistleblowing, and if you ask me, it worked. It helped. We saw people who were able to come out and say, you know what? My oga asked me to dig a certain hole, and he asked me to help transport money into that hole. Check it, and it helped. Again, what happened to that is question I do not know. But we need whistleblowing and the protection of whistleblowers in what you just mentioned now, in our products as well. Somebody knows something. This doesn't just happen. And I can't understand how it is such a syndicated operation that one person is manufacturing, the distribution chain is so well. How can you be so comfortable to send out drinks to the market? You're not afraid that like they say, if you throw stones in the market, you never can say it could hit your mom or any other relative. I want those African proverbs back, because it really shaped my growing up.
I think it's dead consciousness.
I'm telling you.
Dead consciousness, sincerely, because like, what are you thinking? You're not thinking about the health of the people. You're just thinking about your selfish gain, the things you just have to benefit out of them
at night.
It's dead conscience. Sincerely, that is what it just is.
Wow. Well, that's a very unfortunate one. But after they pronounced the speech by the president, another thing that came up was people advocating for the president to bring back subsidy. It became a trend on social media. If you want us to support your policies, bring back subsidy on energy. There's no way you subsidize fuel that you would see this kind of inflation and the sufferings. If you claim that you indeed understand what Nigerians are facing, bring back subsidy. How possible do you find that?
I'm not sure that is very possible because with a few months of his administration, the president, I've come to understand that he's not the kind of person that goes back to his words.
Is that a good thing?
I can't really tell.
Is that a good thing?
I can't really tell because no, I'm not sure it's a good thing because some qualities of a leader is toughness. You need to be tough in some extent, and sometimes you lessen your hardness. Like don't be so stiff. So I don't think it's really good.
Well, a lot of us have looked at the petroleum industry and we're not sure what to think of it because, you know, first of all, you're talking about, oh yes, the market pressures will determine the price. There's going to be competition in that sector. However, the president is also assuring us of a certain price balance. So, and there's been accusation. Even the petroleum marketers have come out to say, oh, please don't even listen to the president. The reason we're even enjoying the 670, I bought petrol for 670 naira per liter.
Approximately
in fact, the reason why
naira.
we're even enjoying this is because the president is subsidizing to an extent. Yes, according to the independent petroleum marketers, that there is indeed some sort of subsidy going on. So, if there is indeed subsidy going on, and those other factors that brought in subsidy in the first place hasn't been curbed, you know, we're all excited that, oh, okay, you're removing subsidy so that corruption around subsidizing petroleum would be curbed, right? Now, and then the scarcity, the artificial scarcity that characterized our lives. In fact, I told you the other day on the program that I'm suspicious whenever I see I am telling you these days, if I see a gas station not packed up with vehicles, if I don't see queues rather in a gas station, I'm like, oh no, let me quickly just get, well, that's what we have unfortunately become in a country that has abundance of crude. In a country that has abundance of crude, we are expecting, I leave my home towards a fuel station, at least giving it 20 minutes to buy fuel. 20 minutes of my productive time to buy fuel. That is best case scenario. Why? Because like we said about our Nigerian people, they could just decide that let's start an artificial scarcity. Oh, don't play with it. Don't even play with it. They are not joking with you. They are not joking with you.
Just 3 hours is too much for them.
Are you kidding? It's like they used to make phone calls. It's time. And they now start selling in one pumps. That's how it starts. Everybody's selling in one pumps. They now make it look like, oh. And I don't know how it starts going round. The next thing, go buy fuel, Go fuel your tank. You might not get to. That's so unsustainable for a country that's trying to, energize its business and a business environment rather. So, removal of fuel subsidy. Again, Nigerians are asking for it. Please bring back fuel subsidy. This is not working. So, do you think that this momentum would be would carry weight and occupy space? I mean, the Nigerians call for bring back first subsidy.
I hope it will.
Oh, you are for subsidy returning?
Yeah, it should. At least for the betterment of the people, it should be returned.
In spite of the corruption that was allegedly surrounding that sector?
In spite of the corruption, yes. At least something else can be done concerning it. The people are suffering people are suffering. So something else can be done concerning it.
Okay. Well, this is still Joy Asonye Live. We're going for a short break. When we return, we'll open phone lines. We'd like to hear your thoughts on what the president promised us during this new year, his new year broadcast. I would like to hear how you found it and highlight of it that touched you the most. We'll be right back. This is still the program Joy Asonye Live.
Dear compatriots, it gives me immense joy to welcome each and every one of you, young and old, to this brand new year 2024. we must lift up our hand to Almighty God in gratitude for His grace and benevolence to our country and our lives in the year 2023 that has just gone by. This year was a very challenging one. It was eventful in so many ways. For our country, it was a transition year that saw a peaceful, orderly, and successful transfer of power from one administration to another, marking the yet another remarkable step in our 24 years of unbroken democracy. It was a year you, the gracious people of this blessed nation, entrust your faith in me with a clear mandate to make our country better, to revamp our economy, restore our security within our borders, revitalize our floundering industrial sector, boost agricultural production, increase national productivity, and set our country on an irreversible path towards national progress that we and future generation will forever be proud of. The task of building a better nation and making sure we have a Nigerian society that cares for all our citizens is the reason I ran to become your president. It was the core of my renewed hope campaign message, on the basis of which you voted me as president. Everything I've done in office, every decision I've taken, and every trip I've undertaken outside the shores since I assumed office on 29th May 2023, have been done in the best interest of our country. Over the past 7 months of our administration, I have taken some difficult and yet necessary decisions to save our country from fiscal catastrophe. One of those decisions was the removal of fuel subsidy, which had become an unsustainable financial burden on our country for decades. Another was the removal of the chokehold of few people on our foreign exchange system that benefited only the rich and the most powerful among us. Without doubt, these two decisions brought some discomfort to individuals, families, and businesses. I am well aware that for some time now, the conversations and debate have centered on the rising cost, high inflation, which is now above 28%, and the unacceptable high underemployment rate. From the boardroom at the broad streets in Lagos to the main streets of Kano and Nembe Creeks in Bayelsa, I hear the groans of Nigerians who work hard every day to provide for themselves and their families. I'm not oblivious of the expressed and sometimes honest, only good economics hard and diligent in
Adewunmi Mercy is still here talking about the President's New Year's speech, and I hope you enjoyed that excerpt. In case you missed it, I know there's been several analyses around the President's New Year's speech. Well, if you want to reach us to discuss all that you heard and what jumps out for you, how you would like the President to really tackle the challenges we are all facing right now, the number to call to reach us in the studio is 080-299-38365. The number is displayed on the screen. I can read it out for you again. 299-38-365. That's the number to call. So Mercy, again, we watched the president elicit hope. I always say that his script writers are the best. You know, I'm sure he just brought there was some audition for renewed hope script writers. They know how to renew our hope, honestly, and it's sweet to hear him tell you how he feels your pain and all of that, and but how do you think Nigerians are taking this, basically?
Anyways, for the SARS, they will complain. We all will complain because that's in our nature. We'll complain, and after a week or two, go ahead with it.
But is that what governance really is? Is that what democracy really is? Because it's one thing to say, oh yes, we complain, is something that is part of us. However, it should be very concerning that, you know, our complaints are not being heard. People are indeed suffering. Yes, it's not easy for people.
It's very complaining and alarming, because democracy is for the people, and it's to the people, and it's by the people. And if you say that is what it is, then you should reach out. It's very unfair for us to complain, and then there is no help coming our way. It's very heartbreaking.
Right. Okay, we have a call right now. Okay, we lost that call. Please call us back on the numbers that are displayed. The number displayed on the screen, that is 080-299-38-365. 299-38-365. We are discussing the president's speech. What came up for you? How renewed is your hope right now? That's what we are discussing. And according to Mercy, that's the president is not feeling our pain. Is that what you mean?
He's not really feeling the pain.
What would you rather have if he's indeed feeling the pain? What would you see? What would you like to see?
I would see more changes.
Like
effectively.
In what sense, really? Because I mean, I'm just confused. Sometimes when we hear people complain, I'm exactly what would you want to have? You right now, this is 2024. What would you like to have as changes?
I would like security changes. The security sector should be looked into. I would like the economic changes. People are really suffering. Before now, there are some families who go for 101, and as it is,
by the way, for people who do not understand what she means
by 101
is the meals. Gone are the days when we had 3 square meals, right?
Yeah,
that was 111.
That was 111.
Now 101 is skipping lunch, having breakfast.
Now
and then
most people are having 001 or at least 010, which is
that's
very
1 meal a day.
Yes, 1 meal a day, and sometimes
a very long time I heard this. It still makes me laugh.
And sometimes 001 half. At least something to make
at all.
At least something to help you sleep, because
okay, I think we have yet another caller.
I've lost that.
Okay. Wow. I don't know what's going on. We keep losing this calls, but keep trying. It would be nice to hear what your thoughts are. 080-299-38-365. So you were just telling us about the 010. What have you been having?
The glory of God, I've been having 111.
So you see, I saw a meme or a joke, really. It says, the way I'm seeing you people's WhatsApp statuses, I'm sure if the president sees this, he will not believe anything about the complaints you've been having, because everybody seems to be bawling.
But say anyhow. We just have to.
That's the Nigeria we know and love. That's the Nigeria we know and love. You know, everybody just is resilient. Yeah. I won't let this, bring me down and all of that. But how is it affecting productivity? That's everything. Especially when we keep bragging about the human resources that we enjoy in the country. We have over 60% of our population youths. So how is these challenges we are all facing affecting productivity, and what would you anticipate or project for this year, 2024?
The productivity is going to really decline, because an active mind is the only mind which can work well.
I'm sorry,
A
I'm just happy
healthy
you
mind,
didn't say
sorry.
hungry. I'm happy you didn't say anything about hunger.
No. A healthy mind. And first off, you need to live healthy to be productive. And a sound mind is the only mind that can be very productive also. So imagine when you're being cranky all the time, when you're being stressed up psychologically, being stressed up emotionally, financially, life is very tough on you. It's going to be very bad on your productivity. Even in the offices, at your workplace, anywhere you find yourself. So it's going to be a decline for the productive state of the country, and also on the youth, because the youth are the bond, they are the stronghold, they are the bones of this nation.
There are, but what opportunities do we keep asking for the youth? You know, I mean, it's one thing to say we need opportunities and all of that, but it's another thing to actually look at the youth, and they all tend towards government jobs. It's like if you take away government jobs, I don't know what else is there. The private sector is not as vibrant as one would expect it, and it's giving room for everybody, and then the government is trying to make some more space to accommodate more people. That is not sustainable.
Left for me, I would say the government should look into businesses. They should help young businesses to thrive. The government are suffocating businesses.
In what sense? Well, in what sense would you say that?
The environment is not really
as conducive, right,
for them. Support them, support young businesses. When you see a young person who is trying to build up their business, and that is the reason, that's more reason why many youth are going into internet business on the social media, because they feel that's a very open space where there are no rules at such that will ban you down, no taxes, no high rate taxes to pay, nothing to stiffen you or to make you feel frustrated and all that. They should just allow the business environment to be very, very conducive. At least if they are very conducive, then it's going to enhance the youth to thrive in terms of businesses. I think the government space is tight already. It's tight.
I read a report earlier today, something about the government giving 8-hour electricity energy to MSMEs. While I forgive me, but I would take any good news, anyone, however it sounds. I'm out there to take it. The government is promising 8-hour electricity to MSMEs, and you know how unstructured and informal MSMEs can be. I don't know how the government is planning to do this, but I just feel like if you ensure every Nigerian has access to 8-hour electricity, it would reverberate, and would also see MSMEs enjoy for it. Because are you going to a community and figuring out the small shops, the MSME stores? How are you going to achieve this 8-hour specifically targeted at MSMEs? I don't get it. Is it hubs? We don't even have proper industrial hubs to say, okay, the MSMEs in these industrial hubs would now enjoy electricity. Or is it in the market? Where I just could not. I just saw the headline and I just giggled. I didn't go deep. But I'm just saying that it's not just the MSMEs. It reverberates. If everybody enjoys electricity, for instance, there will be no need to say, oh, this is MSMEs, this is home, and so there is the difference, you know. And we keep talking about these taxes you mentioned. I had an entrepreneur here on the show some time ago from Abuja. She owns a small business. Although it is online, she also owns delivery vehicles, logistics, these delivery bikes, right? Yeah. And she was talking about the many taxes she has to pay. The many taxes she has to pay for her small store and her bikes that have to do delivery within the state, within the FCT. There are several taxes. We have been talking about harmonizing taxes in Nigeria. That's not happening. But when we talk about business environment and how business environment can be favorable to MSMEs especially and young people, Are we forgetting our financial institutions that are still not, positioning to give out loans and fund it? Well, we have another caller. Let's see if we can reach this person now. Hello there. Hello. Yes. Good evening, and thank you so much for reaching us. What's your name and where are you calling us from? Again, we lost that call. I'm not sure why the network is playing with us right now. But please kindly call back. It will be nice to hear your thoughts on what we've been discussing. We'll soon leave the studio. Yes, we have another call. Hello there. Good evening. Hello, good evening.
Hello.
I'm very good, thank you. If you just turn down your TV set, you will hear me clearly.
Good evening.
Good evening. What's your name and where are you calling us from? I doubt she can hear us. That is a she, right? It sounds like a woman. Yeah, I doubt she can hear us, but it would have been nice to hear your thoughts. For those who might still be trying to reach us, the number to call is 0803993835, 3836 rather, 365. I take it again, 0802993835. The number is also displayed on your screen, so I'm hoping you can just take the number and call. Hello, good evening.
Hello.
I'm very fine. The network seems, yes, can you hear me?
I'm calling.
I know you're doing a good job calling. What's your name and where are you calling us from?
I'm calling from Kaduna.
And what's your name? You would not listen. You're trying to hear us from your TV set. Can you kindly put off? Okay, again we lost that. It seems like she's having issues hearing me, so she's depending on the TV set. I can understand. Sometimes the network is that bad. But then again, talking about our telecommunication, there's so much to talk about and what the government can do, to get the business environment better. She's calling again from Kaduna State. Hello.
Yes.
Okay, I didn't catch your name. What's your name?
My name is Moses. I'm calling from Kaduna.
Oh, that's fantastic, Moses. I hope I got that right. So, what came out for you listening to the President's New Year broadcast? Again, I think it's network, and we've been having that issue for a while now. It would have been nice to have all these people, but I must thank you for calling to all who try to reach out to us, to contribute and make observations and towards the program. It would have been nice to hear your thoughts on what is going on. Let's see if we can take this call for the last time. If it doesn't work, then we let it go. Hello.
Hello.
Hi, good evening.
My name is... Can you hear me very well?
I can hear you very well. Go ahead.
You say what?
Go ahead. I can hear you very well.
I say that...
Go ahead. We can hear you.
I cannot hear you very well.
She needs to tune down the TV.
Okay,
I cannot very well.
Okay, maybe another time. Rest assured, we're always here. We'll be back tomorrow to discuss even more important national issues. So maybe another time. Today it doesn't seem to be it for us. The network has been so lousy, really. That's all I can say. The network has been lousy. But for all who try to call again, I thank you for trying to be part of the program. It's good to know you're there watching and would like to comment on some of the things we've said here. But finally, on our last note, let's round up and go do our. At this point, is the last one, right? 011. So finally, in spite of how resilient Nigerians are, what would you say is most important for you moving forward this year for the government, especially because it elicited the New Year speech had opposition parties criticizing. It's one thing to see that the government is indeed to see that Nigerians are buckling up, is another to see that the government is also buckling up. So if you have to have a staircase conversation with the president, what would it be?
Aside giving us hope speech, please be more sensitive to the people and also implement the policies. And aside implementing the policies, also see to it that they are being followed up. See to that they are being followed up to the core. That is it.
Right. Okay. Thank you so much, Mercy Adewunmi. Mercy Adewunmi, thank you so much for being part of the program. It's always nice to hear your thoughts on some of these very important issues. But this is where we draw the curtains on Joy Asonye Live today. It's been an interesting one, analyzing the president's speech today. Remember, we'll be back tomorrow with so much more. Do remember to have a good time. In spite of the economic challenges you may be facing, there's hope for tomorrow. The renewed hope, of course, for tomorrow. You know, you might just blow. Have a wonderful evening.